February is Heart Month, and while we know that things like a good diet and exercise can help keep our hearts healthy, some may be underestimating the power of sleep. Joining us now to help keep our cardiovascular health in check is Andrew Holmes, the founder of Sleep Efficiency, which is a clinic here in Ottawa. Great to see you again, Andrew.
Thanks for having me.
So you've done all of the work for us here, hearts, and you're going to break down what each one means for us. So H is for heart failure.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the relationship that sleep has with cardiovascular health. A lot of people may not associate the two, but sleep actually plays a critical role in our cardiovascular health and longevity. Sleep disorders and sleep deprivation has a profound impact on our overall cardiovascular health as well. So we're going to kind of walk through a bit of an acronym here today on the different areas that sleep impacts. We get a lot of referrals from cardiologists at Sleep Efficiency. We offer home-based sleep tests. And the cardiologists are actually looking to see if any sort of sleep disorder is the root cause analysis. So before they start their cardiac care map, often a sleep disorder can be exacerbating the underlying cardiac condition. So in order to move forward properly with their cardiac care map, kind of ruling in or out if sleep is the villain, the culprit, is generally a first step. So talking about here for heart failure, those patients who suffer from heart failure have often been diagnosed or sometimes undiagnosed with sleep apnea. What sleep apnea is, for those that don't know, a long pause in the breathing. When that happens, it causes our blood oxygen levels to go down tremendously. They should be maintaining above 90% range while we sleep, but these long pauses, sometimes they're 70 seconds, our oxygen levels can go down into the 70%, 60% range, and it puts an incredible strain on that heart and ultimately can cause heart failure.
I'm so glad you brought that up because we know a lot of people that suffer from sleep apnea. When we think, oh, well, they're just going to be tired all the time, they're not going to go to rest, but it's actually quite dangerous.
It can be. Untreated for sure. It's quite scary.
Okay, E is for elevated blood pressure.
So high blood pressure, one of the most common cardiac concerns that people are facing today, very, very prevalent. What I want to talk about specifically here is how sleep can help support that.
Okay.
When we go to sleep at night, we've talked about sleep cycles. And specifically, we want to talk about slow wave sleep, which is our deep sleep. When we go into that deep sleep, our body's heart rate drops, our body's blood pressure drops. It's the lowest it's going to be across the night. So that deep sleep or slow wave sleep almost acts like a force field around the heart, allowing it to rest and recover. So a lot of people who are sleep deprived, constantly getting less than 7 hours, the potential of hypertension and blood pressure goes up. It's much more prevalent. So something to think about there, getting sleep extended periods, making sure you're getting enough, and also making sure that there's no other issue at play.
Wonderful. And A is for atrial fibrillation.
Right, so this is atrial fibrillation or irregular heartbeats. Okay. This is found regularly in the cardiac community, and often it can be those who are suffering from insomnia, sleep apnea. Some of the symptoms that can present are like heart palpitations, a racing heart. Some people are waking up in the middle of the night with a racing heart. So irregular heartbeats are quite common in those with sleep disorders. So again, getting a sleep test done is a critical piece to figure out if that sleep is actually causing some of the cardiac concerns.
Quickly, what comes first, the disorder, or does the sleep apnea cause the irregular heartbeat in some people?
Yeah, so sometimes they can be completely independent of each other, but often the sleep apnea specifically can cause the cardiac concern. Now, they can be independent, but often what we've seen and what cardiologists will agree upon is you treat that sleep apnea that's occurring, and it can drastically improve the cardiac issue.
My goodness, I love learning all of this from you. Thank you. R is for resistant hypertension.
Right. So we just talked about blood pressure and high blood pressure. What this is just a quick hit here. People are being medicated for high blood pressure. If they've got a physiological process in the evening where those sleep disorders are taking place, it can be very hard for their medications to actually become effective.
Okay. And T, type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, this is a huge population that's being looked at now closely, and how sleep is a major player in it. Those who have type 2 diabetes, 50% of them have been found to have sleep apnea as well. So what's happening is sleep deprivation and different sleep disorders can cause a disruption in your glucose metabolism, which leads to type 2 insulin resistance, which is a precursor for type 2 diabetes. So again, sleep, it's such a huge player. It literally impacts everyone on a daily basis, and those who are susceptible to other different conditions, it can be a massive space there.
Yeah, we have one letter left, but hearing you say all of this reminds me that every time you go to a doctor, you go, how is your sleep? Right? Because it impacts so many other things when it comes to your health.
Critical.
S is for stroke risk.
Right. So again, talking about Heart Month again here, Undiagnosed sleep apnea, more importantly, untreated sleep apnea, increases the risk of heart attack, stroke, and congestive heart failure. You have these situations, maybe somebody knows somebody's like, wow, he was only 55. I can't believe he had a hidden stroke. He had a heart attack. That's so young. Often, it's because the person had been suffering from sleep apnea. Sleep apnea doesn't necessarily kill you, for instance, but what it does is it exacerbates that underlying cardiac condition that induces the cardiac event. And therefore, it was a heart attack, but really, if you look a little bit deeper, it can be because it was untreated sleep apnea for years where those oxygen levels have just been staying too long. It's like your heart's running a marathon in the evening when it should be resting and recovering.
Oh my goodness, so many correlations. Thank you so much for being with us, Andrew. Really appreciate your time this morning.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.